We'll start with the top. She's like, I'm not sitting for this.
Yeah, she's like
y'all, yeah, later for that. Comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. You may pause the video now to view our disclaimer. You ready?
yes.
Okay, so this is completely unedited.
Okay.
We're not changing anything. It's how it goes. Whatever happens.
Okay.
Okay, so why don't you start by telling how old? You said Everett's 5 years old earlier. We're talking, right?
Yes, Everett's well, she'll be 5 in 2 weeks. Her birthday is October the 28th, and she was born in 2015. So she is gonna be 5. I can't believe it. Like, time flies so fast. It's just like, oh my goodness. I remember when she was just like a little baby, I just can't believe it. I just want her to be a baby again. Like, oh man. But a little bit about like my story with finding out how I had a child with Down syndrome, and then later finding out that she had autism. But I was diagnosed while I was pregnant, so I had a prenatal diagnosis, and I was almost like 3 months. I was on the cusp of becoming like 3 months. So I had like found out the gender and everything, that she was a girl, and they did a blood test and say, hey, she may have Down syndrome. We don't know. And then I did a amniocentesis test where they actually stuck the needle and pulled fluid out of my belly, and then it came back positive. So yeah, that was hard, and it's weird. It's because that's one thing that in the Down syndrome community we talk a lot about, is how the doctors like give you the information and then they make you feel like this is the worst thing that has happened, and like, we're gonna tell you your options, like, here's your options, and basically, I mean, they tell you like, okay, well, you're gonna abort the kid, like I asked them, I was just like, what is the percent of prenatal diagnosis abortions? And they were just like 80%, and I was just like, my goodness.
Wow.
And
I didn't realize it was so high.
Yes. And so they, basically they were like, oh, you were young, because when I was about like 26 or 27 or something like that. So they basically like, well, you younger, you could still have another kid, basically type of feel. So I was just like, man, like, I felt that made me feel bad. And because I'm like, well, the doctor's kind of, telling me that, and then when you have family members that start to say the same thing, it's a lot of pressure on you. And so It's like, man, what do I do? I went into like a small depression from, that whole experience. And I was just like, you know what? My child has come to me for a reason. If God didn't want me to have this child, maybe I would have had a miscarriage or something like that. I was just like, but I didn't. I'm carrying this baby. I'm not having any problems doing that. So it's like, maybe it's meant to be, maybe I'm meant to be her mom. And I was just like, I already knew it was a girl. And I was starting to get so far along to where I was literally like at the end of when a person can have an abortion. So they were telling me, like, if you decide to do this, like, I would basically have to be induced and basically push out the baby. So I was just like, that's even more traumatizing to a person.
Well, right. I would think so.
So I was just like, do you think so, that I literally can deal with this information and then sit up there and have that child? And then, like, it was weird. The whole thing was weird. I'm telling you, I was just like, I can't believe, like, medical professionals are just like, they need to have some kind of sensitivity training when it comes to, like, giving people that information and reassuring them, hey, people do, have kids with disabilities and they take care of them. It may be hard, but we'll give you resources to help you. I feel like they need to do that versus kind of, pushing abortion.
I really like that point. Sensitivity training that medical professionals can take part in to ensure that they're able to provide people with more support. Because everyone is not comfortable with an abortion. And
no, they're not.
Yeah, there should be something. I think they try to let you know your options, and I think that's what's one thing. But at the same time, I think for those who do not want to go that route of abortion, there should be something where you feel at ease, where you feel that it's a safe place to talk about those options as well. I think about other things like
or just give you a good feeling about whatever decision that you make, as far as like if you want to have your baby, just make you feel like, okay, well, you're gonna have this baby and that's a good thing, make you feel like you're doing a good thing, and not that it's gonna be a extra burden. Because they would tell me like all these things, because they was like, well, we don't know how severe it's gonna be if you have the baby, and just they don't reassure you that, hey, you can get through it. They just like, how severe it's going to be, or what kind of condition the baby's going to be, and they usually have heart defects, and I mean, it was just telling you like all of this stuff that can happen or what could go wrong, and it makes you think like, well, goodness, should I have a child that may have all of those problems? And it's weird, it's because she had none of those problems. She didn't have any heart defects. She had like a small hole in her heart, but it closed on its own. And she didn't have to have heart surgery or none of that other stuff like that, So I mean, a lot of the things that they were telling me about my child, honestly, it didn't happen to my child.
That's wonderful. I'm happy to hear about that.
Yeah.
So the something that you mentioned when you talked about wanting more support from healthcare professionals when it comes to supporting you in the decision that you made. So we call that self-determination of care, where you ensure that everyone has a choice and they can make their choice, and whatever choice that they do make, that you're able to support them in making that choice, whatever that might mean.
Yeah.
And so in this particular situation, and I'm talking about whatever method of treatment that you choose and things of that nature. So in this particular situation, you say, yes, I want to have this baby. Then, hey, instead of flooding you with all the information as to what could go wrong, since you do, we should be flooding you instead with lots of information and resources. So if this is your decision, we want to support you.
Yes. And in some states, and I guess it just depends on what state you're in too, because I know like out here in California and some other states, I even believe like in Colorado and some other places, like they have like a it's like a group of people, and they take like little baskets to the hospital, to those families that have had new diagnoses. I mean, so they kind of run it differently. So I mean, I don't know, I think North Carolina is kind of falling behind on that, how they can kind of help others, with that have the new diagnosis. But hey, I trooped through it. I mean, I get through it. I did have a hard pregnancy because I was sick, as far as like morning sickness, but I had it like all day and night, so but other than that, I did cry myself to sleep sometimes, and because it's like a mourning of the child that you thought you were going to have. You have to, get that out so that you can prepare yourself to be a mom to the child that you're going to have.
Yeah, because you have all these ideas when you're pregnant about what's going to be. So now you're having to say goodbye to that, and instead you're welcoming a new experience. But that makes sense. Yeah. I've never thought about that, but I think that makes plenty of sense.
Yeah, so I had to, get in my head, because you have to realize now that your child is going to kind of be with you forever, in the sense of that they may not be able to live on their own. They may not, because to a certain extent, they still have to have some kind of supervision, because they may forget to turn the oven off, or if they can't, lock their door or anything like that. So you technically have to know that your child is not going to just go off and just go to college, as far as like by themselves. But don't get me wrong, kids with Down syndrome do go to college, but they usually have like program where it's like a buddy or a assistant type of person that'll go to school with them or be their dorm mate or something like that. But even in that sense, someone is still with them, you know, like someone is always going to have to, even if she had her own apartment, she would still have to have like that person, who that caregiver type of person, to still live with her. So she technically can't kind of be alone, you know, in that aspect. So it's just a difference, because you would want your child to be able to experience life on their own and go through things and just don't have to depend on anybody for anything. And I guess that's something I'm still, you know, having a hard time with at times, because she wants to be so independent and do things on her own. And I'm just like, man, but you still would have to have just some kind of like supervision as far as, you know, someone kind of being along your life. And I think the older she gets, that's going to be hard for her, you know, and I feel bad for her in that sense, because I could tell even with her speech, because of her speech delay, you know, she wants to say stuff, but she gets frustrated. She can't say it because of her disability, you know, so she gets angry and stuff like that. And I feel bad for her. It's like being trapped in your own body, you know, like you know you want to do certain things, or you think it in your head, but it just, you can't act on it, you know, because it's something holding you back, you know. And then her having autism, and she was diagnosed with a year ago with autism, and so that kind of made her have a regression in her speech. Yeah, so but she's a strong girl though. She's a trooper, man. She's a trooper.
I like that. I like that you have such a beautiful attitude, a positive attitude. She has a positive attitude, and that makes a world of difference.
Yeah, and I never want her to be like, well, it's this show called Born This Way, and it's about kids, teenagers that have Down syndrome. It's actually a good show. It comes on A&E network, and it was a girl on there, and she was just like, oh, I have Down syndrome, that's why I act like this, or she had said that or something like that. And I was like, I would never want my child to use that as an excuse or an scapegoat or defeat of herself. I want her to be like, well, hey, I have Down syndrome, but my mom supports me. I have something to believe in, and hey, I'm going to do whatever it is that I want to do. Even if I have to do it differently, I'm still going to do it.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I know she has some things that she does.
Mm-hmm.
I saw your Instagram page.
Yeah.
So tell me, I know she models. So everyone models. Tell me about that. How did she get started?
Yes, it's so weird. It's because when we first moved out here to California, I wanted to look up some modeling agencies, and oh, it's okay. She's messing with stuff, but I wanted to look up some modeling agencies, and so I just did, and I seen one, and it was like submit your information. They were looking for kids that lived in the area that we lived in, so I was like, cool, and so I submitted her picture. And gave them her information and stuff like that, and then they emailed me back. It was like, oh, okay. She's messing with my ring light thing.
I saw. She's like, no pictures today, no videos today.
No. But so she had me go.
It's okay.
So kids do stuff. They just distract you and stuff like that. But they do have a few other kids that have Down syndrome, a part of their agency. So that's one good thing that I was happy about, just to know that they are getting work and stuff like that for other kids, because I wanted her to have another option, because I see a lot of kids with Down syndrome, they either maybe work at the grocery store bagging, or they just I just didn't want her to feel like, okay, I go to school, and then when I graduate from high school, I'm going to only be like a bagger, or I'm going to be like this, because a lot of people in society, they count them out of being able to do things.
Right.
We can do a lot of things, because a misconception about having Down syndrome is that they're dumb. They are not dumb. They just have it takes a little bit more time to do things or to get things or to, they understand what's going on. They hear everything that you say to them. They get mad, they get happy, they're angry. They feel all of the emotions like everybody else does, but they just need someone to give them a chance on, or just to be patient, to give them that time to be able to do whatever task, that it is that they need to do. So I was just like, I didn't want her to feel, or let society make her feel like that was the only thing that she was going to do, because no one wanted to hire her for anything else or any kind of job. So I was just like, as cute as that little girl is, I was just like, I want her to, especially when I started to see more kids, like even in Walmart ads, Target ads, like I see kids that have Down syndrome. So I was just like, but I don't see anyone of color. So I said, I'm going to try to get my child's face out there. I'm going to try to push her and let her be one of the ones that has Down syndrome, but she has color, So, hey, it's kind of hard in the first place being an African-American in the modeling industry or entertainment industry, period. But you have a disability too, so it's like double stacked up against you, So, but I say I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna be out here in California as long as I can, and whatever stuff she can do and be in, and whatever the case may be, then I'm gonna allow it. And if she gets, to an age where I'll say, hey, do you want to do this? And she says no, she doesn't want to do it, I'm gonna leave it alone. But other than that, I feel good and then it's just to show others that they can, have other options for their child, or just to support your child in anything that they want to do. Because, they go to the Olympics, they do all types of things, and play sports, football, basketball, whatever you can think of, it's at least one child that has Down syndrome or autism doing it.
I love it. I like the way that you talk about how important it is to normalize the fact that children or people who are diagnosed with Down syndrome can do anything that someone who is not diagnosed with that can do. It might just take a little bit longer, number one. And two, those of color, that is a different spectrum or space that should be addressed. Did you have any? Oh, so go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No, and I was gonna say, and I just want because I have a lot of African American moms that reach out to me, and they be like, man, especially from seeing our Instagram page, and they would say, man, like, it's good to see somebody else, or it's good to see the progression, or how your child is, or how you guys are, because in their community they may not see that.
Right.
Or they may not talk about it. It's a stigma against talking about those things. I've even had a lady in a restaurant come up to me before, and she was just like, I'm so happy to see you in this restaurant with your child, because my friend has a child with Down syndrome and takes that child nowhere. She keeps him in the house. Like, it's a shame. For some reason, it's like a shame in our community. Like, we don't want anything to be wrong with our kids. We can't show them. If it is, you keep them in the house, or you don't want people saying something to you about them, or people in public looking at you or staring at you. I don't care. The people stare. I mean, they do. People stare at me when I go out, or if she's in her mood sometimes, and she's yelling in the store or running off or trying to run, and I'm chasing her down the aisle. I mean, people stare, but my thing is that I have seen kids that have no disability at all act out like bad. And I'm just like, man, and my child has an excuse. Like, your child doesn't have an excuse, and your child's acting like that. Like,
yeah, that's funny.
So, yeah, it's just like, man, but that's why I say, hey, but if you don't expose them to those things, then when you try to take them out, then they're going to they're gonna, you know, act out or don't know how to be in that atmosphere. So yeah, I like to expose her to things and new atmospheres and stuff like that, you know, because I'm not ashamed of my child. So I'm very happy to be her mom, and I'm happy to show the world this is how you treat someone with a special needs, you know, and that maybe that'll make other people, you know, treat them kind, or, you know, be nice to them, or they can raise kids that don't pick on kids like that and try to be their friend.
I love it. I love it. So, do you ever feel overwhelmed?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes I do. It's some days are good, some days are, you know, but it's like sometimes you have to have a sense of like, okay, just breathe. Okay, let's get to it. Like, how are we gonna make this day better? Or, you know, like, it gets hard sometimes. It does. You know, sometimes even like I say on Instagram, you can see like all the happy pictures of the good stuff and stuff like that. But yeah, some days it does get hard, and you just have to push through. I mean, it's nothing, because they're dependent on you, and that's what I have in the back of my mind. She's dependent on me. She didn't ask to be here. She didn't ask to have Down syndrome. You know, she didn't ask to have none of that stuff. So it's a struggle in her already. So I can't fall apart, because how is she going to feel about herself if she see that I don't even, you know, try to hold things together for her? So I just try to, you know, if maybe sometimes if I shed a little tear at night or something like that, and I say, hey, but I have to have a strong face for her, and her to always see mom does it, and mom goes and she makes sure I have this, and I, you know, I call whatever I have to call and make sure she has services and everything like that. You know, I advocate for her so much. You know, it's just like, it's crazy. But I mean, you have to do it, because who else is going to do it?
Yeah, yeah. You brought up a lot right there. So, okay. So one, I want to talk a little bit about services. Mm-hmm. What type of therapies, supports does Ever have?
Okay, so she has occupational, physical, she has behavior therapy, and speech therapy.
Okay, so break it down for the people. For those that don't know what each of those therapies address, how would you describe them?
So occupational focuses on fine motor skills, more of the like writing, using utensils, how to drink out of cups, how to, you know, use you know, just their hands with a lot more of things, because they can can be hard for them to grasp things and stuff like that, and hand-eye coordination, a lot of that stuff. Physical therapy, you know, is more so physical. They have low muscle tone, so it'll take them longer to walk because of that. It'll take them longer to even crawl, sit up, all of that stuff like that. Climb up on things, kick, all of those, ride a bike, any physical type of activity. It will take, their muscles have to like build up, you know, that memory, so you can strengthen it because of the low muscle tone. So, you know, physical therapy works on all of that. Walking up and down steps. I mean, just the simple things that you would think of and take for granted. That's why I sit and think sometimes. I'm like, man, like, it takes a lot just for her to, you know, learn how to walk up steps or on surfaces. And it's just like the things that you think of, you know, just even drinking out of a straw. Like, she had to learn how to do that because of the low muscle tone that was in her mouth area and stuff like that. Like, you literally, someone like had to work to teach her how to like close your mouth like that. I mean, it's like, it's crazy. So it can be hard for a person who never seen a child have to literally work in everything that they have to do just to live a everyday life, just normal things that you do.
Yeah.
So sometimes I do feel, it's like I feel bad for her having to work so hard because I just like, man, I just wanted to be a regular kid, you know, and play and not have to worry about, oh my gosh, I have to go to this therapy and that therapy and this person telling me to do this and that and this and that. You know, sometimes I feel it's like being a monkey in a cage. Like they say, oh, well, I need you to do this trick, do that, do this. You know, someone always have telling you to do something, but yes, it's for the benefit of your livelihood, but she's still a kid, you know? So that's why I make sure I take her to the beach and I take her to the park and I just let her be, because the rest of her week or her day is somebody literally say this word, show me this object, which object is this, write this, do this, position your hand this way, like someone always telling her to do something.
So you make sure that she has that downtime.
Yes.
And when she doesn't have when she's not doing the downtime things, you mentioned a couple other therapies.
Yes, so behavior therapy. Okay, so since she has autism as well, autism has a lot of behavioral things that come with that diagnosis. So it's like kind of the acting out or the not following directions or having tantrums or, you know, just a lot of those things, not properly doing things as far as like when she's done with the toy or something, she'll throw it. Just simple things like that. They teach you how to properly, you know, behave in situations.
So kind of like how we would act on a social scale. So social norms, things that would be acceptable in culture. And of course that's different based on what culture it is, but here in the US, maybe certain things that are acceptable. And so behavioral therapy will assist the child in
even with like if she's drunk, finished drinking her drink and she's done, but she wants more, and she'll bring you a cup, but she'll kind of like throw it. And it's not even if she's meaning to do it in like a 60-something drink now or so kind of way, but she just properly doesn't know, hey, you wait and you hand the person this, or if she wants your attention, she just comes in your face or something, like, no, you tap a person, you know, even just something like that, like it has to be taught to her, you know. So yeah, but behavior therapy helps with that, help with you just being more of a functional person in society. They even take you in the store, outings and stuff that show you how to act, you know, because she can go in the store and just start knocking down everything in the aisle, but you can't do that, you know. So it's really helping you how to adapt, or even how to put your shirt on, put your clothes on, like put your shoes on, like this, even helping with potty training, and that is a process. Okay, that is a process. Yes, she is still 5 and in. Hey,
she thinks it's a process too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she said.
So, but it's hard.
Yeah. What do you do for self-care?
Self-care. Well, for myself, I usually like to take time. I like to write, and I do a lot of like prayer journaling, and I do like to go get my nails done, my pedicures and stuff like that. It's just something that I can relax and do, you know, and have some time to myself, and then her dad can take over and help, you know, watch her and stuff like that, and then I could just kind of go and be and just do some stuff for myself, just have some downtime. So that's what I like to do. I just like to just have a minute, maybe go to Starbucks, you know, just something you can just do, you know, and just have like a little moment to yourself.
Right. That Starbucks sounds really good right about now. So let's see, what lessons have you learned being Ever's parent?
The lessons I have learned is that you can't take things for granted, especially the small things, because I see how hard she has to work to do just those simple things I was telling you about that we just do normally. You know, we get up, you put your pants on, your shoes on, like, and you know, wash your face, brush your teeth. I mean, but even all of that has to be taught, learned, and you know, with her fine motor, she can't really get her arm through by herself. I mean, she has to, you know, work at this stuff. So it makes me learn to not take things for granted and to not see people as you know, you never know what someone is going through. So it makes me, you know, look at people differently in the world, because and I just have a greater appreciation, even if you don't have Down syndrome or autism. Just if you're in a wheelchair, or if you are an amputee or anything like that, I just look at people with disabilities, you know, differently, because society really makes you like overlook them sometimes, honestly. And you just like, oh, okay, they have a disability. Okay, well, you know, and then you just like don't think that they have to live like a person and they have to be and stuff like that. So I really just appreciate, you know, life more, and not be so selfish, you know, because before I had her, it was just all me and whatever I'm doing and no blah blah. But you know, it's just like you just go live life as a young person and just living and stuff like that. So I mean, but it really makes me just see more of the world and really want to just do more. It makes me want to do more.
I think it would make me be less judgmental, because we think about, even if you're driving in the car and someone pulls in front of you and you're like, what's wrong with them? And, you know, we get upset about those kind of things, but and I'm not saying that that's okay, but there may be something that they're going through. We don't know what's happening in their home. We don't know if they're trying to get away from someone. We don't know what's happening, but I would think that it would open your mind up and broaden your horizons enough to say, I don't know what this person's going through, but I'm going to consider giving them the benefit of the doubt, because I love it when people do it for me. So yeah, I could see that.
It makes you less to anger, just like you said. Like if that person's zooming past, you're like, oh my gosh, like what? But you just like, man, I honestly don't know what they got going on. And something even in stores, like I have literally had a lady, I was holding Ever, and we were at the cash register, and they had like a little sign taped to like cover up the little keypad for your card. And so she ripped the paper off of the keypad. And so the lady was like, oh my gosh, like the cashier. And I was just like she's a kid. Like, I mean, I was just like, you literally are in a store with packs of paper on the shelves. You can go get a pack of paper and cut that out and put it back on there. Like, she was mad. She was like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm just like, as if to say, like, can you get your kid? Like, you can. I'm just like, yeah, it's a kid and it's a piece of paper. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you don't know if we had a hard morning, or what I was going through, or what my child was going through, or we just had actually left her therapy office. And I'm just like, you don't know all the things that I had to deal with. And you think I want you getting an attitude with me because she took a piece of paper off of something that can be like put back on there? But people don't consider, but a person that wouldn't have a child with a disability or something like that wouldn't consider that. Wouldn't consider like, oh, well, you know, I see she has a child with special needs. Let me not, you know, get mad about a piece of paper or whatever. But no, a lot of people aren't considerate, you know, of just people in general. But that's why I appreciate that the journey that I'm on. It makes me, you know, just, you have to be a little bit more kinder to people and stuff like that. Yeah.
So what I have seen in my work, because here at the practice, we work with primarily people who have experienced trauma, persons who have experienced challenges of aging. We're all aging, but there are specific challenges that come as you get older. And then there's defiant or challenging behaviors in children. So a lot of the times we'll see families that come with all of those components, and sometimes it's one or two. And then you have those that might come for anxiety, depression, what we call generalistic things. So I have had a few children that I work with that were diagnosed with autism. And there's one big thing that I hear a lot, and parents want other people to understand that even the term disability, I know we use it because that's what's been accepted, but what do you think about changing the rhetoric behind that? Differently abled as opposed to disabled, as there's a deficit of some sort because that person doesn't behave just like you or doesn't do things just like you. What do you think about changing that phrase or that term?
Exactly. Like, I really feel like that does need to be changed because it already puts a label on you before a person even gets to know you.
Right.
You know? And so even like Down syndrome. Down is the first word.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So sometimes like in the Down syndrome community, we say up syndrome.
Really?
Yeah. We say up syndrome.
I like that.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it give you your title or that label already gives somebody something to judge you upon without even, knowing anything about you. Like, my child is silly, she's funny, like she likes to play, she likes to watch Family Feud. Like, what child watches Family Feud? I mean, it's just like, and she's been watching it since she was like 2. And to sit there and to clap for the people and everything, like she knows good answer. Like she knows like what they're doing, So it's like, it's so funny, some of the little things that she does. She'll give me a hug, and she, sometimes, and it's just like she's a loving kid. But if all of you know is that, oh yeah, she has Down syndrome, you're not gonna know all of those other things about her, or she has a disability. You're going to just think, oh, that's a disabled person, or that's a person that has some kind of, you're already going to think that because of that label versus, no, this is Ever, and Ever is this, she likes this, so, I mean, yeah, it's hard, but honestly, I doubt it'll ever change. Like, I doubt it will.
Yeah, I think that's very candid of you to say. I don't know either if that will change, but I know in our little corner of the world, it won't stop us from trying. We will continue to normalize this instead of making it something that you should be ashamed of.
Yeah.
To magnifying the stigma. We want to be accepting of everyone, despite what the abilities are, because even among those that we might say are typically developing, okay, we're not good at everything, and we don't want everybody, or anybody for that matter, to maximize upon those things. We want everyone to see us for who we are. So how is that any different for Ever or anyone else?
Yes, and that is so true, and that's all I want to get across to people, and is that, imagine how we feel, and we have to work hard and have to fight for things and stuff like that. But imagine they have to work triple that just for a person to see them as a person and not just like a label. So, I mean, that's why I try to build my child's confidence up. I tell her I love her. I tell her she's beautiful. I tell her she's smart. I tell her she's strong. Like, I try to do all of those things, because even if you leave outside of my house and someone tells you that you're not, you're like, well, no, my family told me otherwise. So you can't tell me that I'm something else, because you weren't raised to think like that,
I think you were right when you mentioned maybe I'm supposed to have her because I'm supposed to be her mom. I think you were right.
I know. Like, if you told me like 5 years ago that I would have a child that had a disability, and I would, be like an advocate and, try to just reach out to people and just inform people and just show people, what it is to, be a family with a child that has a disability, I would be like, I doubt it. Like, some kind of strength came out of me that I didn't even know I had.
So it's a new passion. It built a passion.
Yeah.
She helped to nurture a passion within you. So that's beautiful. That's a silver lining right there.
Yes, it is. It is. So I try to look at it like that, even when days are hard sometimes, and I'm just like, man, but I know that my child is in good hands with me. So I couldn't imagine her being with someone else. So I know that I'm taking care of her, and she's getting all of the resources and stuff that she needs. Then that makes me feel good, is because I know that for this one child that has a disability, that she's gonna be okay. You know, I may not can save the world or help every child that has a disability, but I know that by me just even doing right by her, then I know that that can show other people to do better. You know, even if you're in the situation already, or about to go into the situation and you're pregnant, or if maybe in the future you don't even know that you'll be pregnant with a child, or even if you adopt. Like, I've met so many people that have even adopted kids that have Down syndrome out here. Like, I know a lady that has 2 kids that she's adopted that has Down syndrome. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And she writes books, and she's a great person, and I've met with her and a few times in her family and stuff like that. And so it's people out here that they step up and they try to make a change and be different, to show society and show people that, hey, they are people too. They need people to love them and to care for them as well. So I'm just happy to be a part of something like that. It's like I say, it's like being a part of a secret club. It's like all of us, we support each other, and that's another thing. Like, if anybody has any type of child with a disability or anything like that, it is support out here. Social media, Facebook, Instagram, just find it. You have to go out there and find it, and don't be afraid to message the people. I get so many people messaging me, all the time, saying, "Oh my gosh, like, you help me," or "Can you help me find this or this information?" And I tell them, start your therapies early. I give them advice and stuff like that. But you can't be afraid. Like, if they never asked me that, would they ever have found that information, or would they have the courage to go ask for the services? So you just seek information. You got to seek. Like, from the moment I found out I was having a child with a disability, I said, hey, let me look up stuff on my own. Like, I was finding resources and stuff on my own that the doctor's office and the hospital didn't even help me find. Like, and I still to this day don't even know how I stumbled upon some of that stuff. Like, I had I was in some kind of like nursing program, and I would have a nurse come to my house like once a week and would talk to me about the growth of my baby. And it's so funny, it's because the lady that I ended up getting, she had a son that was a grown adult that had Down syndrome.
So like a peer, almost a peer support system.
Yes. And so she was able to even, talk to me about things and stuff like that, because she had already experienced it. Her child was an adult. Like, he was like 24 or something like that. So it made me, it showed me to be like, oh man, like, your child's an adult, so, but it was good though. That really helped me, that nursing program. And then actually it's called Care and Ring Together.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with them.
Yes. And so if anyone can use their services, they're good. They help. Your child doesn't even have to have a disability. Even if you're like a mom that's just get pregnant or whatever like that, and they'll help families and stuff like that, just with information and stuff, just about being a good parent and all that stuff like that. So but yeah, it just helps. And then I did the Down Syndrome Association. I did get in contact with them, and they help as well. They helped set me up with another family that helped me through my process as well, and I still talk to them to this day, like that family, and see them when I can and stuff like that. And they have a little boy that's a couple years older than ever, so that help as well. It's just like don't be afraid to get help or ask for help or be ashamed.
So you mentioned a few services or organizations that will provide support. You've also said, don't be afraid to ask for help. Do your homework. are there any other glaring things that you would tell other parents, especially one that's maybe newly learned of a diagnosis of Down syndrome?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's okay to not feel like you have it all together all the time. And it's okay to feel sad about it at first. It's okay, because that's a normal reaction. But know that if you are able and capable of taking care of that child, then, you know, just don't give up on yourself, and give yourself a chance to show, you know, that you can take care of that child and just be there for that child, you know, because it's a blessing being able to be a mom or a dad, you know. So yeah, just believe in yourself. Just pull that strength and just believe in yourself, and find those resources to help you, and you'll be able to get through it. Even you know, it helps if you have family members that, you know, don't make things seem like they're undifferent. You know, you have to act like everything is okay, and they're just like treat them. Lady told me, treat your child like they are a normal child. That's it, because your child is a child first, and then they have something extra.
Right.
Your baby will be a baby first. They still need you to burp them, give them a bottle, and change them. You know, so they're a baby first, and then they have something extra. So you have to care for the baby, you know?
Right, right. So how do the people find you? So people have questions, if they want to work with you and if they want to make contact, Ashley, how do people find you?
Okay, so they can find us on Instagram at everandmom. That's EverAndMom. And also my email is everandmom@gmail.com. So both on platforms, Ever and Mom.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining us. It was fun catching up with you again.
Thank you. And just I really appreciate, you know, you wanting to inform others and seek information out, and it was really good seeing you.
You too. Does Ever feel like saying bye? Or she's in her role, right? She's doing her own thing right now?
She's playing everything that she's doing, yeah.
Well, tell her I said bye, and I'll catch up with you soon.
All right, and talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
If you're interested in some of the facts provided in this video, pause here. And if you're interested in resources for you or someone you love, pause here.